In September 2015, at a special conference in New York, the United Nations established 17 Sustainable Development Goals as a worldwide call to action to eradicate poverty, safeguard the environment, and ensure that all people experience peace and prosperity by 2030. Each goal is divided into subsections, each with blueprints towards a better and more sustainable future for all. The SDG goal we have chosen is number 11, Sustainable Cities and Communities. This aims to make cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable.
In this video, we will focus primarily on AIM 11.6, reducing the environmental impact of cities. It is crucial for the survival of human civilization to make cities more eco-friendly and reduce their environmental impact. According to the U.S. Department of Energy, New York City produces up to 176 million metric tons of carbon dioxide annually, which has severe effects on the city's air quality and climate. We felt it was vital for you to be aware of the severity of the situation at hand, and for us to demonstrate what has been done and what may be done to battle the situation.
By 2030, cities will be home to nearly 61% of the world's population, over 4.8 billion people. Around 2% of the world's population lived in cities in the 1800s. Given that cities were among the most unhealthy places to live, this was a minor miracle. The world's metropolitan population has increased from 2% to roughly 50% of the total population in less than 200 years. The most visible examples of global urbanization are megacities with populations of almost 10 million people or more. Cities have residents who interact with their surroundings. The consumption of food, energy, water, and land by city dwellers has an impact on the environment. As a result, pollution in the urban environment affects people's health and quality of life. In the United States today, 1 out of every 2 people own a car. If that were the standard, by 2050, there will be 5.3 billion cars on the road, each requiring energy.
Cities are one of the largest contributors to global warming. According to UN Habitat, cities consume 78% of global energy and produce over 60% of greenhouse gas emissions. Despite the fact that they make up less than 2% of the Earth's surface, around 2/3 of global emissions come from energy consumption and production. Energy and heat production are the leading sources of greenhouse gas emissions in Copenhagen, New Delhi, and Cape Town. This is because most cities rely on fossil fuels, like coal, as their primary source of energy.
According to the World Economic Forum, fossil fuels still account for 81% of global energy, the same percentage as 30 years ago. Copenhagen, on the other hand, has been able to transition to producing more than 70% of its energy from renewable resources, with a goal of operating entirely on renewable energy by 2050. The only reason why Copenhagen's largest source of greenhouse gas emissions are still from the production of energy is because they have managed to keep everything else as clean as possible as well. For most cities like New Delhi and Cape Town, transportation emissions are the second biggest contributor to the city's CO2 emissions. In Cape Town, 86% of transportation emissions are produced from private cars. This is mainly due to the fact that in Cape Town, 23% of the population is completely stranded from public transportation, and a total of 33% of them are unable to access affordable transportation, forcing them to have to use cars instead.
One of the major differences that sets Copenhagen apart from New Delhi and Cape Town is the use of bicycles. Biking is an environmentally friendly mode of transportation that uses fewer fossil fuels. Biking also reduces the need for automobiles to be manufactured, maintained, and disposed of. Biking saves roads for residential space and allows for more greenery and less concrete in urban areas. According to the city government of Copenhagen, 62% of its residents bike to school or work every day. Many Danes have abandoned cars in favor of bicycles as their primary mode of transportation. In Copenhagen, the bike-to-car ratio is 5:1, and the bike-to-person ratio is 5:4, implying that everyone owns at least one bike. In comparison, New Delhi has a bike-to-person ratio of 1:3, and Cape Town has a bike-to-person ratio of 1:33.
One reason for the disparity is that Copenhagen has 400 kilometers of designated bike lanes for its 800,000 residents, whereas Cape Town only has about 180 kilometers for its 4.6 million residents. Biking has many advantages beyond reducing environmental impact. Buying and maintaining a bike costs about 1% of the cost of purchasing and maintaining a car. This provides mobility not only to those who are unable to drive, but to those who are less fortunate and cannot afford cars. A neighborhood with more bicycles has fewer cars, which can lead to a safer road environment. Children can also benefit from the slower and less dangerous traffic by riding bikes. Choosing a bike over a car just once a day reduces carbon emissions from transportation by 67% for the average citizen.
Goal 11.6 also addresses solid waste management. Poor waste management leads to climate change and air pollution, as well as affecting ecosystems and species directly. Landfills have the potential to permanently harm the land beneath them, as well as contaminate the groundwater we use for drinking. Despite the fact that landfills are one of the most inefficient waste management methods, they nevertheless account for 65% of all waste. The average person generates 270 kilograms of rubbish every year. Denmark has the highest municipal rubbish production per capita in the European Union, with each resident generating an average of 844 kilograms of waste in 2019. Waste production is an unavoidable part of life. Denmark produces a substantially more garbage per capita than India or South Africa. However, this is offset by the way it manages its waste. Because of strategic plans connected with national and European waste and resource management goals, waste management in Copenhagen is constantly improving. Recycling and reuse are highly valued in the city of Copenhagen. At the moment, all households sort recyclable fractions, and new sorting technologies are being developed to add more fraction.
In most countries, 91% of all plastic is not recycled. In both Cape Town and New Delhi, just 10 to 12% of all recyclable waste gets recycled, with the remaining 90% ending up in landfills. Copenhagen has a recycling rate of 69%, and in 2019 it was able to recycle 92% of all bottles and cans produced. In Cape Town and New Delhi, the lack of a collection system is the key cause for their inability to recycle as much as they would want. In Copenhagen, every household is required to recycle, but only 36% of the population in New Delhi is required to sort their various types of waste, and only 7.5% of the population in Cape Town recycles. According to Reprieve data, 54 million t-shirts or 6.5 million fleece jackets could be made if every American recycled just one plastic bottle. 295 million new aluminum cans could be produced if everyone recycled one aluminum can. Cities can encourage recycling by placing recycling bins in public areas, mandating garbage separation, and requiring schools to teach children and parents how to recycle.
As environmental change becomes more urgent, corporations, governments, and entire nations act to prevent urban pollution. One of the current initiatives is PaveGen. PaveGen's tiles generate electricity from foot traffic. These $160 per square foot tiles are installed on streets, retail complexes, and shops. The tile is made of 80% recycled material. PaveGen powers streetlights and other lighting. The technology is useful when a power grid is unavailable or a low-carbon alternative is needed. PaveGen tiles have been used to light soccer fields in Brazil and Nigeria, a Heathrow airport hallway, London offices, and a Washington, D.C. street. PaveGen is a greener alternative to burning fossil fuels. PaveGen tiles can be installed in densely populated areas, creating many power generation sites. Installed PaveGen tiles can power a building. PaveGen will continue to generate energy as long as people walk on it. Due to the high cost production and installation, some countries may not be able to install PaveGen in all urban areas.
Electrifying vehicles is another current effort. Over 30 national governments pledged that all new passenger vehicles and vans will be emission-free by 2035 in leading markets and by 2040 globally. This is a step forward in reducing greenhouse gas emissions in urban areas, where gas-powered cars contribute significantly. Large automakers such as the likes of Ford and GM have committed to producing only electric vehicles by 2020, which is reflected as seen with the likes of the new Ford F-150 Lightning, which the company is releasing in late 2022. These vehicles are extremely energy efficient, with an average range of 350 kilometers per charge. These automobiles require no routine maintenance and can run months or even years without servicing. Electric vehicles may have drawbacks, such as the long refueling times. A standard charger can take up to 8 hours, while a fast charger can take just 30 minutes. Electric vehicle batteries are another issue. The creation of these batteries, including the mining of cobalt and lithium, production in gigafactories, and transportation is one of the largest sources of carbon emissions from EVs today. Unless a zero-emissions battery is developed, emissions will continue to rise as electric cars grow and spread.
This video shows what causes the most emissions, what is being done, and what may be done. As development continues, we envision a world where everyone has access to healthcare, food, and other basics. UCC's future plan is a 15-minute city. The 15-minute city can meet all human needs within 15 minutes by walking or biking. 15-minute city shows 3 shed levels. In each shed, expect at least 8 living spaces per acre, including open space, civic facilities, and single homes, townhouses, and multifamily complexes. The 5-minute walk shed shows the most neighborhood uniqueness. Most people will walk 3/4 of a mile in 15 minutes. This shed should house a grocery store, pharmacy, general commerce, and schools. And the 15-minute bike shed provides access to cultural, medical, and higher education resources. Here are regional parks and employers. Intercity transit is possible. The city is socio-economically equitable, so people without cars can get by. Reduced transportation reduces fuel use and global warming. Human-powered transportation like bikes is advocated. The benefits are greater than a single closed-knit neighborhood. Accessible services save time and improve the quality of life.
We hope you enjoyed this film, and we hope that you received some insight on cities and their emissions.